Good morning, everyone. This is AL Thick Madame, and I am doing the review for the second episode of Family or Fiance. I was wondering when it was going to come back on because I was like, okay, it's been a couple of weeks. What's going on with that? But anyway, I'm not feeling the greatest, meaning I'm still sad and didn't get much rest last night, but I'm trying to be consistent, so I'm just gonna try to push through this video. So this episode was about Ashley and Karan, and I'm confused about his name because one minute somebody will say Karan and somebody will say Kiran, and I'm like, okay, what actually is his name? Because if I'm not mistaken, I actually heard he himself say his name was Karan, but his mama will say Kiran or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, that's beside the point. So anyway, Ashley and Karan have been together for 3 years. Okay, so when this first came on, before they even said anything about their relationship, they had gotten into a vehicle, and then she took his hand and kissed it and was like, "My king," and I was just like, people are just so extra when there's no need for it. Because, of course, as I knew what happened, even though he barely even said, hey, bye, anything before this point, he said something about how, yeah, this is the way it should be the rest of the time that we're going to be at the place we're going to be at. Because with this show, they go to a house for 3 days and come to the conclusion as to whether or not they should continue on with getting married or if they should split or just, hold off on it or whatever. But yeah, he, of course, he took it to that level that I knew he would. Somehow I knew he was going to do it, and he was extra about it as well. And so she was like, I hope you don't think I'm going to do this the whole time we there. And he was like, yeah. And for the rest of our lives. And I was just like, anyway, they've been together for 3 years, and she said that they've known each other since they were in high school. And he was like, well, I didn't really notice her at first. And she was like, yeah, because I didn't look like this. And he was like, yeah, she didn't look, like that. So I never really noticed her. And she was like, yeah, because of my booty. So now she has a booty. And I was just like, he's trying to make it seem like it ain't about that, but I don't care what he say it is. So anyway, he is nervous about the meetup because his mother is very religious. And at first they didn't even say what all could be the reason why, outside of her being a Christian, a very devout Christian, as to why she would have such an issue with her. The only thing they did mention was that her mother is a lesbian and her family already doesn't like him because apparently only his family has met her and he hasn't met her family at all. Okay, so I don't remember. I think I messed it up in the first video. The woman's name, who they go and see, her name is Tracy McMillan. I think I said Terry McMillan by accident, and I apologize for that. That is not that woman's name. But anyway, Tracy McMillan met with them and gave them a house tour, and they was here for it. They saw a little hot tub, and they was like, yeah, we're going to do something with that later on, and, whatever. And I was just like, okay, I'm not here for none of that. I already know I'm not going to be here for it. I don't know what it was. I was just like, I know I'm not going to be here for it. I'm not going to like it. I'm not going to be here for them. It ain't going to work out, right? So the people that were going to come on his side were his mother, his father, and his sister. And on her side was going to be her mother's girlfriend, and her friend. That's all I'm going to say, her best friend, this girl. That's all I'm going to say for right now. So, she talked to them and, she was trying to figure out, what all was going to happen. But before they even got to that point, he had made a point to say something about how his mother doesn't like him smoking and drinking. And so he tries not to do that around her. And he kind of tries to hide this stuff from her. And I'm pretty sure she knows he's doing this stuff. I mean, especially if he smokes a whole lot, whether he tries to hide it or not, you're going to smell it. Or whatever. I'm just like, you doing the most. Whatever. So, you know, he made a point to say that. So anyway, his mother doesn't think that she's a good fit for him. And the only thing she really knows about her is how she looks. He showed her a picture, and apparently she dresses provocatively all the time, and she's not here for that at all. So she already was just like, nah. Just from a picture now. Just from a picture, never met her, never spoke to her, none of that. And she was just like, I'm not here for it. So anyway, Tracy McMillan was talking to them and, you know, and went over the information that she had been given about them. And she told them that for that particular day, the tasks that they had to do were, he has to do 20 questions, you know, 21 questions, whatever you want to say, with her family, where he just answers things that they want to ask. He has to be completely open and honest about it. And her task is to go shopping with his family, since they hate the way she dressed, because that's really all they know about her at this point. So I'm just like, okay, y'all doing well. But anyway, his people arrived first, and, you know, they went around and were hugging everybody, and, you know, girlfriend, fiance was like, well, I don't know if I should hug you or shake your hand. And so his mom was like, well, we hug. So everybody hugged one another. And I guess for the husband to not feel like he's disrespecting his wife in some way, looked like he only shook her hand and that was it. And I was like, oh, okay. You can give like a little half of a church hug, like it ain't that deep. I don't know what that was about. But the sister hugged her, the mama hugged her, but he gave her like a handshake or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was just like, okay. But it was funny because before they even came, they were in bed, like all the way in bed, not sitting on the bed. They were like in the bed with beers, canned beers in their hands, drinking. And I was just like, okay, y'all doing the most. And she randomly said something about how she was gonna fart. And so he was like, are you gonna be like this the whole time? You can't be like this when they're around and all this other stuff. And so she was like, what you mean? I'll be myself. So she proceeds to, I guess she farted. I ain't really hear it if she did, but he was just like, you can't be like that when you're around them. And she made a point to say that she was going to bring her beer with her whenever they arrived. And he was like, he was going to leave his. And so the doorbell rang and he left his. She was like, you were serious? You ain't going to take your beer with you? So anyway, like I said, they came in and all that good stuff. So when her family came in, they, you know, hugged them, but it was just so, I don't know. It was, you could tell it was not inviting at all the way they hugged them. And I was like, oh gosh, that's, ugh. I mean, you ain't got to be all up and through and all just, you know, I don't know. It's just, I feel like there's a way that you can do it. Cause I've been around people that are in the church and they have no connection to me. They don't know me, but they give an inviting hug. Those weren't inviting hugs at all. I was just like, oh, right. It's already starting off wrong. So, like I said, the hugs were whack. So anyway, they ended up having a family meeting, and the guy, Karan, ends up going over what everybody's tasks were for that day, and it was already looking like, oh, okay. Like her family was excited because they would get to ask what they wanted to ask. And within that same meeting, you know, they discussed what their issues were with them getting married, if they had any. And her mama said that she didn't think that he was treating her right and that he was disrespectful and all this other stuff. I think her girlfriend, her mother's girlfriend, said something about him being childish and unstable. One or the two of them said that they just don't see it for them. Her mama said that when she basically said that she raised her to be an independent woman, and she has done a lot of great things before him, but when she got with him, she wasn't independent anymore, and she feels like he's disrespectful and all this other stuff. And then when it got to his mother was like, you know, she's not, what's the word? She's not classy or godly, and I don't feel like she's the one for him. And his sister said that she doesn't think that they are ready and that his heart is somewhere else. And her mama even reiterated the same thing. And I was just like, what you mean? What's going on here? So, it just got to the point where the fiance was like, is that true? Is your heart with someone else? And so he was like, no, and went on about his business. So, after it was over, they went back to their room and he asked her, are you all right? And so she was like, no, I don't like your sister. And so he was like, what you talking about? And she was just like, I don't like your sister. It's something about your sister. I don't know what it is, but I ain't here for it, but I will go off in 0.2 seconds. That's what we say. She said 10 point something seconds. I was like, okay. Apparently she does a countdown before she go off, because where I'm from, we say 0.2 seconds, which means you have no time before you gonna go off, set it off, do whatever you're gonna do. But anyway, she was just saying that she didn't understand, why his sister was acting like that. And anyway, it just got to the point where she was just like, look, I'm classy, but if I need to pop off, I'm gonna pop off. So a little bit later on, they were getting ready to go shopping. She had her purse and she was just like, I don't even really want to do this. And so his sister was like, well, you don't have to do it. And so, she, in my mind, she didn't really say it in a terrible way, but she was kind of like, well, shoot, I don't really want to do this myself. Kind of gave that vibe off. But then it got to the point where she was just like, well, I just want to know, why you have this issue with me. And so she was just like, I don't know why, what are you talking about? She was like, I feel like you don't like me, or something's wrong. Like, I don't know what it is about you. And so she was like, what do you mean? She was like, it's something about your energy, it's something about your vibe, I don't like it. So it got to the point where the fiance walked off, and then his sister was like, I'm ready to go. And so her brother was like, oh, you ready to go shopping? And she was like, no, I'm ready to go home. And I was like, oh gosh. So anyway, they ended up doing the 20 questions, and they asked him if he could change something by himself, what would it be? And he said him having an attitude, and, they were here for that answer. And then they said something about, about that ex that the sister and the mother brought up. And he said, look, his mother and the ex have a long history. And just like with anybody who's in a relationship, you might have built this bond with that person. And so, sometimes they still have a relationship after that, but that's all it is. So I was like, okay, yeah, I don't believe that, but all right. So they're shopping. His fiance, his mama, and his sister, they're shopping. And, she, brought up the fact that she wasn't really here for the sister again, but at the same time, she was like, well, who is the person that you're talking about that he's still, in love with, still got feelings for, still love, whatever. And so, they were like, well, we're not going to say her name. So it got to the point where she was just like, look, if you're talking about, and they beeped out whoever the person's name was, she was like, if you're talking about her, then, we done already brought her into our situation, and it had, before even that, she was just like, well, who was the person? She kept asking, they wouldn't say it. She was like, well, depending on who it is, I probably love her too. So, whatever. So, like I said, they brought up the name. His mama and the sister, well, mainly the mama, she was looking kind of shook, like, because apparently that was the person that they had been talking about. Whoever the ex was, they brought them into their relationship and had threesomes with her. So, it got to the point where she was just like, his fiance has no filter. It got to the point where she was just like, look, I am a Christian, and my mama is a lesbian. She's been with her girlfriend for 9 years, and I am bisexual. And so she was looking at her like, what? So, she was just like, okay, you say you're a Christian and all this, but your lifestyle is not reflecting that. And so she was like, are you trying to say that because I'm bisexual that I can't be a Christian, or that I don't believe in God? She was just like, I'm just saying that your lifestyle ain't reflecting what you're saying that you are. So, she wasn't here for that. You already know she wasn't going to be here for that no way. She ain't like the dress she saw her in or whatever clothes she saw her in a picture before she ever met her. You already know she was not going to like the fact that she's bi. So I was just like, Lord, this is too much. So they got back to the house, and his mama immediately came in the house and asked to speak to her son. So she pulled him to the side and discussed everything that came out when they were shopping. And then, it just got to the point where, like I said, it was apparent that the person that they were talking about before, that was his ex. So, it was just so bad that she was just like, well, we didn't raise you like this. You come from a Christian home. All the Christian values that we've instilled in you, that this is not the path you need to go down. And it just got to the point she was just like, look, we finna go. Like, they really are about to leave this house. Like, they are done with this experiment, this experience. They don't give the blessing. And it was just like, look, I'm finna go. So it eventually got to the point where the fiancés were arguing with one another. So before his family left, his mama was like, look, I'm leaving, but we're not getting on this plane without you. So it just got to the point they still trying to talk, and his mama like prayed over the situation and was like, apparently there's something in the way and that's blocking you from where you need to go, and I'm refused to let something block you. So she prayed over the situation, and then she started speaking in tongues. I said, oh gosh, like, this is too much. Like, I was just like, oh my gosh, it was really too much going on in life. So it just got to the point, they literally left, and then they had the mama do like a little confessional type of cam, like a personal cam, and she was just like, look, I don't get my blessing. My son was not raised this way. And she basically was like, I pray for her mother. I pray for her mother's friend. I pray for her friend, her best friend. And I also pray for Ashley. Keep in mind, y'all, she actually, within that same day when they went shopping, she revealed that the friend that came along was an ex-girlfriend of hers. So it's like, come on now, it's too much going on, y'all. And then he didn't even know about that. So I'm just like, what? Like, everybody was blindsided. Literally everybody was blindsided on his side, including him. So I'm just like, she knew she was wrong. That's why she didn't say nothing. It's like, why wouldn't you divulge such important information like that? Especially if they're going to come here and vouch for y'all and supposed to come up here and sit and say whether or not they approve of y'all being together and what the reasons are as to why they feel like you shouldn't be together and what y'all need to work on. I wouldn't even want that person to be around me if we've been together like that and I'm about to try to get married to you. Like, for me, that's how I am. I know there are other people who are here for being with their exes, being around their exes all day, every day. Oh, we best friends now. Like, no, we done. For me, if I'm done with an ex, I don't see the point in being friends. I just don't. Because when I'm with someone, I love hard, and I don't see the point in sitting around acting as if we never had feelings for one another. And at least on my end, I went hard for you, and I thought we were going to make it to the end. Marriage, living happily ever after, all that good stuff. So for me, I'm just not here for that. So, you know what I'm saying? It was crazy because he was like, yeah, I like women. And then his fiance, and he and his, let me say this, him and his fiance met up with Tracy McMillan to discuss, some of the stuff that happened. And so it just got to a point where he made it plain that he had an issue with being with somebody long term who is bisexual. And it's like, who proposed? Like, did you propose? I mean, not that even matters because y'all are engaged to be married, but you're trying to sit up here now and say, oh, well, that's a deal breaker for me if somebody's bisexual. And so she was asking, like, the girlfriend, fiance was like, you like women who like women, don't you? And he was like, oh yeah, of course. But when it comes to marrying them, no. And so she was looking like, this is news to me because we ain't never discussed this. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is just too much. So that's why I'm just like, this is just so stupid. Like, if you know that this is your deal breaker, why would you get with her? Why would you propose or agree to be engaged to somebody that you don't want to be married to because of their sexual orientation, preference, all that good stuff? So it's like, what were you even thinking? This don't make sense to me. So anyway, it got to the point where Tracy McMillan was like, look, part of your task today, you're going to have to go and talk to your folks before they leave. Because they literally had left. They packed up all this stuff and left for real. So her and her ex that's there, the friend, they were talking. And so she was just saying that she doesn't feel like she can be herself anymore while she's around him. And also at one point in time, they did like a little scene where she was talking about how she saw her mother bring men into the household and all they did was argue and fuss. And she just thought that that's what it was. And her mama got tired of all of that. And she has a girlfriend now. And I mean, I know that people will argue no matter what they are, who they are. But apparently it was just way worse when it was men. And so she just said that she just felt like that was just something that naturally just is what it is when it comes to men. And so when she was with him, when she's with Karan, she just felt like that's just the way it's supposed to be when you're dealing with a man. So I was just like, oh, okay, that's weird. So anyway, he ended up meeting up with his folks. His daddy spoke his piece, stepdaddy spoke his piece. It was like, we ain't here for it. We're Christians. That's not the type of thing that we agree with. His mama was so short with him, y'all. I was just like, oh, Lord. She was like, well, our yeses are yeses and our no's are no's. And she was like, we do not give you our blessing on this. Like, she said it all the way off. I was like, Lord. Oh, gosh. Like, she really did say it all the way off, y'all. I was like, oh, gosh. So, anyway. Him and Ashley ended up talking. And then it got to the point where he was like, where's your head at? How you feel? And she asked the same with him. And they both said that they were having second thoughts. So he was just like, given your history, I understand how you are and all the other stuff. What he can't get behind is her not knowing when to cut off the behavior that she has or just the attitude she has. He says that he feels the difference between him and her is that he knows when to be respectful and she doesn't. Because when situations were popping off, she was just talking to his mama and everybody else like they was just a random person on the street. And with him, I understand a lot of people feel like, okay, this is my mama. I got to respect them. And I feel like like he said, he did have a point when it comes to that. I feel like you need to respect your parents. But there is a way to talk to them where you're being respectful, but you're still getting your point across. With her, it's just unfiltered. I said what I said, and that's all it's gonna be. So I that's really the only thing I agree with him on as far as that is concerned, because she does not have a filter and she does not know when to cut it off and cut it on. So it's crazy because they were showing the show and then they kept panning to them currently in the moment where they're video recording them together, and they were sitting on complete opposites of the couch and just sitting there just looking like, I'm just here so I won't get fined. And I was just like, oh gosh. So anyway, it was so bad that, he basically was like, it's over. They both were just like, it's over. He went looking for Tracy McMillan. And so she was like, well, I heard you were looking for me. So they sat down and had a one-on-one, and he was like, I've come to the realization that this is not for me. We don't need to be together. I had that talk with my family when you told me I need to go talk to them, and they reassured me that my decision needed to be that I didn't need to be with her. And in order for me to not be with her, that's me being real with myself. And so I was like, oh, Lord. So anyway, they ended up having a family meeting. And like I said, his family is gone. Like, they really are gone. They are on a plane somewhere by this time, or probably even back at the house in Georgia somewhere. He had that family meeting and was like, thank you everybody for coming out. We have called off this engagement, and, it just is what it is. And we will always be friends and all this other stuff. And they did all this hugging and making it seem like everything was all nice and cool. And y'all, the little thing went off and it said they haven't talked to each other in 3 days. She blocked him on all forms of social media. And that was the end of that. And of course, she's still friends with the ex-girlfriend. But anyway, that was all that happened on that one. I'm excited to see about how the other ones are going to go. And hopefully they'll continue to get more and more interesting. I'm hoping that at least one couple will somehow overcome everything. And it won't be monumental amounts of craziness already going on that people on the outside are seeing that will prevent them from being together. Because with these two couples that we've already seen just with these 2 episodes, I'm just like, I'm an outsider looking in and I see this is some foolishness that ain't gonna work just from the car ride that y'all take coming in trying to introduce yourselves to us. I don't know what it is. These people like off rip, I just be looking at them like, yep, this ain't gonna work. Yep, they ain't gonna make it. And it ends up being that way. So like I said, I'm really hopeful that at least somebody, one couple will come out of this on top. But anyway, that was my little recap. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Thank you very much for viewing and I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye.